Drumindor is the next book in Elan set to be released soon, and so today I've put together a quick video that covers 3 topics we can be looking forward to and some plot lines to keep an eye out for. This video is especially geared towards readers who have already read all of the other Riyria books, but it's been a while. But I'll still be avoiding any major spoilers in case you haven't read all of the Elan books, though there will be some minor spoilers for Death of Dulgath, Disappearance of Winter's Daughter, and Fairlane. For number 1, we have the unique region of Delgos and the city of Tour del Fur, where the fortress of Drumindor resides, and where we expect most of the book to take place. While we have briefly visited this area in other books, we've never gotten to spend any substantial time there. So let's take a closer look at this place and see why it is so different from every other region on Elan. To explain the uniqueness of this region, we first need to back up a couple hundred years. In the year 2450, most of the human world has been unified into the Stewards' Empire by Glenmorgan. But in 2520, Glenmorgan III is betrayed and the Stewards' Empire dissolves. In that chaos, Delgos breaks away from the rest of the kingdoms and declares itself a republic, which it remains for the next several hundred years and through the time of Drumindor. In fact, if we look at all the other human kingdoms, they are all forms of either monarchies or rulers appointed by the Nephron Church. So Delgos truly is in a class of its own, being the only republic in Elan. Delgos, and its main city and port, Tour del Fur, is run by a ruling body called the Triumvirate, which, if it has the same definition as in ancient Rome, would be a group of 3 individuals who hold leadership. We know that one of the 3 is Cornelius de Lure, perhaps the richest human in the world, but we know nothing of the other 2 leaders. Being that the city and region is technically a republic and run by the wealthy business class, it should be interesting to see how a capitalistic mercantile society functions in Elan, with all the good and bad that come with it, such as being more accepting of peoples and races, but also only if those people have money at their disposal. For number 2, we have the Dwarven race. The 4 major races of Elan include the humans, Frey, Gazelle, and Dwarves. From the beginning, we have always gotten the most information on the humans. When the Legend series came out, we learned much more about the Frey. And finally last year, we learned much more about the Gazelle. So while every series has had at least one Dwarven character, we have never gotten a deep dive on the Dwarven race to the level we have the other races. As the Dwarves are a huge population in Tour del Fur, we expect to learn much more about them, and Sullivan himself has even hinted that this will be the case. One of these topics includes Dwarven history. We know some very important historical Dwarven figures spent time in Drumindor, such as King Midian, his daughter Beatrice, and the renowned inventors Antvari and Alberic Berling, so any historical context may include them. And speaking of invention, Dwarven innovation is another big topic likely to be discussed. We know Dwarves are the race of invention on Elan, creating many remarkable things such as gemlocks, but this could certainly be expanded upon, the largest of course being the construction of Drumindor itself. Invention and history aside, there are other topics that have been hinted at as well, such as their music and culture. And for our final thing to watch for in Drumindor, we have the Diary of Falkirk de Roche. In the past Chronicles books, there has been a side plot regarding a mysterious diary. This was not part of the main plot line for either Death of Dulgath or Disappearance of Winter's Daughter, but it seems like it could be important for Drumindor. So let's recap what happened in the past 2 Chronicles books. In the opening scene of Death of Dulgath, Royce and Hadrian are completing a job for a Lady Constantine to steal a diary from Lady Martell. They complete the job despite some hiccups with Lady Martell's dog, Mr. Hipple. Publicly, Lady Martell claims nothing was stolen though, and that is all we get in that book. But in Disappearance of Winter's Daughter, the plot begins to thicken. That book opens with Royce and Hadrian again completing another job, this time escorting a captured Virgil Puck for whom there is a bounty. It comes out that he knows Lady Martell and he has read the same diary. Lady Martell claimed she got the diary from a monk she had been having a tryst with. She took the diary thinking it was his, but later realized it was a very old book written by someone named Falkirk. She had tried to return it, but the monk had disappeared. Then, as Royce and Hadrian continue on their way, a group of soldiers appear, abruptly killing Virgil Puck, and then leave. Strangely, when Royce and Hadrian arrive back in Medford, they find that they had been paid for the job, even though they didn't return with Virgil. And even stranger, it turns out they had been paid before Virgil was even killed. It turns out this job was also through Lady Constance, but was a double-blind job, so they have no idea who was behind the jobs or why this person wanted Virgil dead. Now we need to jump back a couple thousand years to talk about this Falkirk fellow. As we learn from the Rise and Fall series, Falkirk was the traveling companion to Bran and Dibben, and one of the co-founders of the Monks of Maribor. Though in one of Bran's letters, Bran believed some evil had taken a hold of Falkirk. Now let's jump back ahead. At the end of Disappearance of Winter's Daughter, while in Rochelle, Royce and Hadrian see the dog Mr. Hipple hanging around an unmarked grave, who they assume to be Lady Martell. Hadrian wonders to himself that he doesn't understand how all this connects. How could reading the diary of a several thousand-year-old monk get Lady Martell and Virgil Puck killed? Maybe some ancient ghost wants his book back. And that is where we're at with the diary. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, but considering how the storyline has escalated in the past 2 Chronicles books, we hope to learn more in Drumindor. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Be sure to subscribe and watch my other videos to learn more about the world of Elan and Riyria. Thanks!